down Medical Center up by, Papacitos.
Yeah.
Across the way there, right before you come up to the strip center, that, was it CLH Health? They
Yeah.
bought all that property now across the street from where they are. They're always, they're all, where's all the traffic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now got a sign, and it's cleared, the brush is cleared out. So, ever changing. Hey,
How's it going?
Good.
Oh, Happy New Year.
I came in to invade all you in.
Come on in.
Just a tad.
Hey, how's it going?
Share the videos since it's not up. This way people can jump in and watch. Set up wherever. He's actually, you gonna have the, you have the PA hooked up? Citizens comment that might help us, anyone, giving comment. I mean, I just need them to stand either somewhat close. I mean, if they're on that, then the PA's gonna override the AC.
Yeah, and then we have this mic also
Good.
Perfect. If we just stick that down towards this way for our low talkers. Well, one thing I've never been accused of is being quiet. I walk quietly, but loud voice.
How was your holidays, Nancy?
Good, good. Always goes a little too fast.
Yeah.
Try to stretch it out.
Nice.
When my kids got married, I wasn't gracious. It's like, not right.
Oh, come on.
Here.
Here.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm
There.
Shoes. I'll show it to myself, then I have the link. Good. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
See ya. All right. See ya. Got some stuff we need to sign. Okay. Whole series of minutes, all those.
Read the compliments from Campo.
Three different sets.
No, actually had,
Yep.
oh, I did, earlier, hey, how's it going?
You guys have a good holiday?
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
It was just this note here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You read that?
Yeah,
That was very nice.
yeah. It's really nice, yeah. Good.
Where are our notes? We have one of each. Is that how we do this?
One whole
One whole
stack.
packet
One
like
whole
that?
stack.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You know, we got one neighbor that, thank God, it didn't really make. So bright. I mean, you could see a mouse out there. Just lit up like LED light.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bright. I'm right, it doesn't really make.
In the old days before,
Official gavel.
That's how I prop my tripod. I learned that the case will hold up at a perfect angle if I use the gavel to prop it up.
Phil Clark's
Here in Florida last weekend, my folks had a deal down there, and, one of the guys they were sailing with was his girlfriend, whose family owns Diesel and Sons, towing.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, I found this out, she's like, yeah, we have a port here in, Cape Canaveral, I'm gonna go there tomorrow.
I don't know.
Check out.
Yeah,
I
up there.
said, really? I said, I'll go with you. And,
How are you? Good. Jim?
Oh, sure. 5,000 horsepower harbor tug with Z-drive, and I got to go and tour the harbor on it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The
Yeah.
Z Drive.
Yeah, yeah,
I started learning a little bit of the Z Drive.
yeah.
And that, I'm so used to the old school tillers, sticks, that learning Z Drive.
Yeah.
And I actually went on there specifically to learn, because we had 8 Z Drive days before.
Yeah.
And so as I'm training on this, I'm getting headaches and everything. It's literally rewiring your brain how to operate. Just,
You don't use, flight planes, huh?
yeah,
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 flight
fine.
Yeah, so it's.
Oh, okay.
Just waiting on Jeff and Herb. Yes, interesting. One thing that really surprised me was figured that once it got out there into the world, that more people from outside Nassau Bay were responding. So far, only one person self-identified as a non-resident. Yeah. I thought that was three.
Maybe I was wrong.
Was it?
Yeah,
was it
three.
Okay.
Yeah, it was three.
Yeah. Okay. Still, I mean, not, nowhere near
Yeah.
what we thought,
Well, general response is less than 1% of the population.
Yeah. We'll get started, and the other ones can join us. All right. This meeting is called to order. It is 1600, 4 o'clock. On January 7th, 2026, this is the meeting of the Maritime Safety Committee, City of Nassau Bay, being held at 1800 Space Park Drive, Suite 200, City Council Chambers, Nassau Bay, Texas, 77058. This is the call to order. Roll call.
Still out here.
Stowe is here.
This is fun.
Jason's here. Brian Brown is here.
Paul Lopez.
Paul Lopez is here.
Tim Crum.
Cromie.
George.
Chief George.
Elias Haynes.
Ilias is here. And not present as of right now is going to be Audrey Hervey and Jeff Lloyd. I know Audrey had said he would be here. He actually sent me an email saying he would be here a little while ago, so he's probably running a few minutes behind. That, we'll jump into the citizens' comments. Any citizens have anything they wish to speak? Yes, Nancy, if you want, just come a little bit closer, either to the tablet or I think the main podium might be on, if the PA can override it. But yeah, I mean, right there would be more than fine. You should be heard. 3 minutes. Marla?
Hi, Nancy Lynn, 2445 Bay Coast Drive. I am representing as chairman for Parks and Rec Committees, as well as Keep Nassau Bay Beautiful. I am here for several different reasons. One, I did complete and appreciate your survey. I think that was very needed. My only concern was that I have talked to so many people in aftermath of the timing for it, I think a lot more people might have responded if it hadn't been the holiday season. I can tell you I've raised kids and been through that, and now grandkids or whatever, but life doesn't slow down. So going forward, and to be positive, if you do more surveys, maybe at a less busy time of year, because I think a lot of people would want to input and appreciate that this committee's reaching out to them for their thoughts. We are a water-based community, so I think it plays a gigantic part. Okay, with the next thing, we talked, Brian, briefly about the Clear Creek cleanup. The other thing that concerns me, I understand that's a whole different group of committee people, but we have a lot going on down there at the bends in the creek. And just from a parks point of view, it's dangerous. We're sailboaters, so we, there you go.
There we go.
We're sailboaters, so we honestly don't go sailing out of the marina or anywhere else because of the danger, because you've got to tack and come about and do all that, and you have one of those boats come along, you know, it's not good. On any way you look at it. Years ago, we used to jet ski, and we gave that up because it wasn't very safe. And that was years ago, before the population. Right now, to go back to the Clear Creek cleanup, I understand from the chief and Paul that we have to have, in order to even talk about any temporary signs for events, you have to have permission from the General Land Office and the U.S. Coast Guard. At the very least, I would hope that we could do banners like we did for the paddle of Nassau Bay, maybe a series of them spread out for that day, but maybe just kind of in general and figure out a way to lock them down. I don't know that if banners break any laws or not, but something that's not really totally inhibiting motorboat people, but or the jet skiers, but just makes them cognizant, because we do have quite a few people who use kayaks on a fairly regular basis. And we do have individuals who might, you know, as this weather is staying very warm, they might be teaching their kids to water ski. There's all different things, ways to use the water. And if you have band attention and make them pause. The other thing is, having been in the sailboat business for many years, my husband and his dad were one of the first dealers in Houston. So we have participated in the Houston Boat Show. You're gonna have a whole lot of new boaters coming out on water starting in January into the spring. They have no clue. I can't tell you, that's how I learned how to sail. My husband jumping overboard out in Clear Lake to help people that were going in circles or whatever, couldn't land their sailboats. They weren't our customers. So it's never changed. And there's more and more people. Houston's what, the 5th largest port, I think, in the United States. We're way up there for numbers. And again, with the warm weather. So I think for the Clear Creek cleanup, if we could have those big banners, the red ones like we had for the paddle event, it just catches attention. If we could maybe come up with some kind of idea to do that while the powers to be investigate and look at your survey, but something along that shows Nassau Bay's interested in safe boating. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
No, so thank you. Comments or anything? Since we're in the citizens' comment portion?
Okay, do I have to stand up?
You don't need to stand up,
Okay.
just state name,
Okay,
rank,
my name is
ceremony.
Kathy Huff, and I've talked before about the safety on the creek with the bends, thank you, with the curves, and how dangerous it is. I kind of spoke for other people, stating, because I'm one of those that likes to go fast, I like to have fun and I like to go fast, but, the day that that boat, those kids, beached that boat, I guess it was kids, the one that went up on the rocks at the park, well, we passed that boat that morning. And, they were having fun, they were going fast, and one of them was on top of the boat, on the roof. And my husband stopped and said, you know, boy, if the Coast Guard was to see him, they would get stopped. Well, then later that day, we saw them and they were fishing, and that was the same boat. We've witnessed other almost accidents, and I am for a wake zone or something signs slowing that down. And I do like to go fast through there, but it's not worth it. Somebody's gonna end up getting killed or hurt. We see kayakers there, and they have every much right on the water as boats going fast. And it's just too dangerous with those curves. And with this going on, the pier going in, the kayak pier and everything, right?
You're talking about Lake
Yeah.
City?
Huh?
Talking
No,
about
I'm
Lake
talking
City?
about there at the Braun Park, the little, kayak launching thing. Isn't that what that is? At Braun Park, the little launch for the kayaks?
There's an existing
Yeah.
launch down
Okay.
there now.
There.
There was talk of possibly putting one in, there was originally some plans. As of right now, that's,
Okay, well, if it does go in fact, one night we were going out and there were some boats there were police boats, and I thought that's great because they're gonna catch people going fast. We see, jet skis in there at night and everything else, but anyway, that's not what we're here about. We're here about the cleanup. I agree with what she's saying about being or something. It's just a dangerous area, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm just rambling kind of, but it needs to be, something needs to be done. I do like to go fast, but it's not worth it. It's, we see these, well, he knows what I call them. I'm not gonna be political here.
Go fast
Fast
boats?
boats, I call them something else, but anyway, passing each other, and then there's little kids skiing and in the water, and they don't even care. They don't even slow down, and the kids are in the water. You know, the mentality, they don't care. So, even if somebody was there to the police or the Coast Guard to guard it, to watch them and give them tickets or something. I mean, would they consider that? Start coming out there in that area?
Coast Guard?
Yeah,
They've been out.
okay. Right there by Braun Park. Okay, thank you. Thanks for listening.
thank you. All righty, any other citizen comments? Going once, twice? We close the citizens' comments out at 16:09. Okay. Committee member comments. Start around. Jim, you're up first.
Well,
Don't cut that off.
how did I get the luck?
Working counterclockwise.
Okay,
Cut it off.
so, my comments are, last meeting, I had submitted that we talked about blind bends during the meeting. And we did not talk about blind bends. That was not in the report. We talked about, it got reworded to talk about boating activity on Powell Bio, but not blind bends. Blind bends is an important word, because it's a Coast Guard rule about blind bends. So it did not get mentioned in the last minutes of the last agenda. And that's, so, I think we just need to clean that up and get clear about how we communicate with each other. The other thing that I found is, I just love this artificial intelligence, how much information we bring forward. My gosh. I try to look through Coast Guard reports and Texas Parks and Wildlife, I cannot read that stuff. So anyway, AI brought up a lot of information, and the Clear Creek is dangerous, there's no doubt about it. See all those blind bends over there? I was out there last night, yesterday, and there's another blind bend that's not listed on here, but it's also that peninsula is a blind bend, the upper part of the Nassau Wildlife Peninsula, that's a blind bend.
Yeah.
It is, and so those markers, unfortunately, those markers are over, they're not squared away.
You talking about the no wake buoys?
Yeah.
I know we've had some issues with the
Yeah, I know.
buoys not wanting to stay all the way upright. I think we're looking into that.
We have, just on the same subject, on the other side of Nassau Bay Peninsula, on the west side, excuse me, on the east side, we've got a buoy that's sitting there, it's been there for years. It's in our city property, but it's been banged up and hit for so many times, it needs to be removed. Or a new one placed there.
Where is that percent?
Yeah, Jim, if you could show us on the.
Nassau Bay Peninsula, you're coming down to Clear Creek. Everybody know where Clear Creek starts?
Yep.
Or ends? Most people don't. I mean, Clear Creek
So
starts
you're
up
saying
in,
by the wharf?
no, no, it ends by Clear Creek.
No, I mean the buoy that you're talking about. Is it by the wharf, by the spillway?
No, it's up in the upper, it's about 3/4 of the way up the peninsula on the left-hand side as you're going north toward the Hilton. And it's just been sitting there. I'll send you all pictures about it later.
So closer to the end of Davis Road,
Huh?
closer to the end of Davis Road, Davis being the league city. Street
Yes,
that goes
yes,
up.
yes, yeah. But it's been there for years. It's been in terrible shape. And it looks like it's been hit several times. But the other issue is that, as a regular down at the dog park, and I go down there every night, my dog meets me around there, so I see so much boating activity down there, and I see violations all the time. Like last summer, for example, somebody was surfing after dark. At the same time, a jet ski comes around the corner, and I know that we're so stretched out with our police department here, that I don't know how we, it's hard to cover all that stuff. But unfortunately, I don't see League City over there either. I don't know why, but it's their property too. So we have the Nassau Bay Peninsula. Oh, look at this. So this is the Clear Creek Nature Center, right? Clear Creek Nature Center comes up here, and it's parallel right by across the Baby Pond Park. This is the line, this is a very dangerous line, right? And the one I'm talking about is up here. Right there where the end, by Museum, that's where it's sitting. But I see people all the time, violating the laws on it. I know Coast Guard try to run the rules, but I don't know how we cover all that property, all that land, with a small enforcement agency like we have. And I don't know how we get League City to show up either. I don't know. I know. I'm just my comments. So the question about the survey is, when did the survey open up? When did it close down?
The survey opened up November 1st, I want to say, or November 1st or November 2nd, and then it closed down December 15th. So they
who
had a
said-
solid 6 weeks.
Okay, I didn't get that information. Never sent to me, so I had no input on that survey.
Jim, you were at every meeting where we discussed this.
But we didn't, the survey was written out, but not presented at the meeting.
It was. We read through it. I mean, Herbie took the floor on that. And
All items were discussed?
Every item was,
Yeah, I must have been asleep.
every item was discussed.
I must have been asleep. But but in all honesty, I was in the middle of that paddle event too, so I might have missed some stuff that came across, because that thing was overwhelming to take care of.
Oh, I bet.
So I might have just missed it. But I just think communication is important to have.
Yeah, here's the first draft that we came up with.
We came up with the first draft, I want to say, his first hard draft was in September.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This one only had 10 questions on it at a time, but this is.
Yeah, that was just enough to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And line up for a
Okay,
full.
did it have, I don't remember seeing that, but did it have an expiration date on it? Because a lot of people told me they didn't know about the survey.
So the expiration date was December 15th.
But was it on the document?
That, I don't know if it was originally put on the document or not.
It should be.
Yeah, and when we originally set out, we weren't sure exactly that it was gonna be able to start on November 1st. And we said it was gonna run for 6 weeks.
Okay. So the other thing I just say this and close it up, is all these Coast Guard rules and regulations, which also coincides with the Texas Parks and Wildlife. They got all these rules that are called rules of the road, and those all pertain to where we're at down there. It's so dangerous and so crazy. I mean, I got people jet skiing at nighttime. So how do we enforce that? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to mess allowed out on the water at nighttime,
I know.
so.
I know. So one of the things it says in the Coast Guard rules, it said, contact 911 or the Texas Parks and Wildlife. Well, that's so, you know, they're in the market, it's so hard to get them, get their attention. I mean, I don't know, I really don't know how we do that, honestly.
It'd have to be discussed at the budget, I mean, that's something that we want to look at, but, you know, you're talking.
Sure.
Probably $200,000 for a vessel and full-time, 2 full-time people, I mean,
Minimum.
yeah.
Then you gotta be able to crew the boat.
And I'm not justifying anything, but we have officers on the streets and we have traffic laws and stuff, but we still have people who don't drive properly, and we
Of
have
course.
accidents and stuff, so.
Of course.
It's no different on the water than we have on the streets.
But here's one of the things I see in the future. So League City is building a kayak launch right across the street from Eagle Bay Bridge. And they just, I sent you all a picture of that thing. You see how that thing is built?
It's really
I'm
nice, we
talking-
looked at it the other day.
Huh?
Is it, it's not open yet?
No, no,
officially
but
open.
I was actually down there the other day talking to one of the contractors, and that thing is so sturdy built, he said, you know, you could drive an army tank across the thing, it wouldn't hurt it. So they're gonna be putting their, my point is, to close this up, my point of it is that soon, there'll be boaters coming out of there, paddlers coming out of there, and where will they go? There's a good chance they're coming towards David Braun Park. Maybe up there towards the Hilton, towards Margaritaville, who knows? But there'll be a lot more boat traffic coming through, paddling traffic, which is a big concern. Thank you, that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Jim. Irv, you're up.
Most of my comments are gonna be related to some of the outcomes of the survey.
Okay.
So when we get to that point, I'll just give you more.
Okay, well, I mean, that's gonna be that's your baby, so you'll get the 4 on that one.
Okay. All right. Second.
So we do that now? We do that later, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when we
Okay,
get to that
okay.
agenda item. All right, Jason, you said you're good?
Yeah.
Nothing to add over here? Jeff?
I just have a question, this is plans to continue operation of the existing ramp on the kayak launch there in Dayton Run Park. And is there, trying to confirm that there's no plan to remove that.
People use it.
I mean,
People use it.
People do use it, yeah, and I think it should remain.
Yeah, I haven't heard about removing it.
No, shouldn't be. Let me, and then the one time kind of tied in with that, so next time, and I think Nancy talked about it, so February 28th, we have the annual Clear Creek cleanup, which includes, all of Clear Creek, and they start working on this thing weeks in advance. And the final day is the Nassau Bay Peninsula cleanup. So I use my vessel to go up and pick up people from, the boat ramp over there in League City that'll be newly rebuilt again, and bring them over to the peninsula. And bringing them towards that ramp is very difficult because it depends on how the tide is. You know, sometimes you get close to the ramp, sometimes not. And I know we spend some effort on some cleanup on the repairing the Upper Bay ramp. I'd like to see some money going into that ramp we have there too. Because I came by there yesterday and there's people fishing on it. There's guts of the fish sitting on that ramp, and then that just creates a traffic hazard for people sliding. There used to be a sign on there that said no fishing on this ramp.
Oh, it's on, it's still there.
No, it's not there.
It's not there anymore?
No, it hasn't been there for
I
a couple months.
have noticed a lot of people fishing off the ramp in recent months.
They do.
I was just gonna say for a safety aspect, when we talked about it in the park committee, the kayak ramp really, and even the small ramp over in the Lake Nassau, they need cleats to tie off in different places. Maybe, I don't think that one has a little ladder or anything.
It does not.
But cleats, tie-offs, and even maybe up higher, some posts where they could tie off their boats to get out, because if they're by themselves, how do you hold on to get out and then get out of the water? So if we could come up with some safety aspects like that there and on the lake, I think that would be really helpful. And maybe even the non-skids, something like that, as far as if the people continue fishing, that couldn't hurt to have that for walking purposes on the ramp.
I think at one time, we did have a sign there because Wave Action, I'm sure somebody probably took it off. We'll look into that.
The other part that you were talking about, has anybody talked to the Boating Trades Association? Has
like, we've been members for years, but they're the ones who work, it's Boating Trades Association of Houston, and they work with the lobbyists and all these different, that might be a great source for information or help or monetary help for the city. Something along those lines, because they go and lobby for the whole state and Austin, and are involved in all these voting laws and rules, and so it certainly couldn't hurt, but I bet there would be a lot of resources within that club organization.
All right, Jeff, anything else in here?
No.
Paul, anything to add?
No.
Chief? No, sir? Chief? Nothing else? Okay. Well, we did have the, you and I had spoken earlier about the non-skidding on that. So the non-skid that Public Works had put out a couple months ago on the kayak launch ramp on Upper Bay. Looks like the weather kind of got to it with the non-skid stripping, just going straight on wood. It didn't last.
Yeah, I didn't see it yesterday at all.
Yeah, I went by the other day, just kind of walked the area. And so, you mentioned something, you guys got some non-skid paint coming
Yeah,
for another project?
We have a coating coming that we're gonna use for a different project, and we should have enough to get them on.
Yeah, a little bit of, like I said, just a little bit of roughing up on the wood and applying that should adhere.
You're just gonna do it in the line with the stairs, or the whole thing?
No, just, on the stairs.
Just the rough.
Yes.
Yeah, when we put it in, it was only like, what, 2 feet wide or something like that, it was
Yeah.
just enough to be able to get
So
rid
this
of
is
it.
scratch the kayak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I got some input. As a guy that didn't know anything about kayaking, I sure learned a lot in the last 3 years. And that ramp over there, when people get off that kayak, get off that ramp, well, you're a kayak, so, you know, you need that whole piece of wall, you need all that wood, and you're trying to get that boat out of there, so putting a small strip of, anti-slip wood on it, doesn't make sense, using that whole thing would make sense.
You don't, that's what we're talking about, because then the bottom of the kayak's gonna drag across that, and it'll tear it out.
Yeah, you don't want to damage your undercoat.
Yeah, you want the wood there, so people can pick it up and drag their kayak without damaging the bottom.
I'm
You
talking
just-
about for foot traffic though.
I understand, so the way that ramp is, it's wide, and the ladder right now is on the right side, right? So if you put and you can't obviously slide the kayak in, the
No, I
ladder
hear
is
you, I
in
hear
there.
you. Yeah, that makes
So if you
sense.
put it right in the line
Yeah,
with that,
that makes sense.
Would AstroTurf work to solve both problems? I've seen AstroTurf used in docks before.
Yeah, AstroTurf is
Regular
essentially
kayak,
plastic.
I don't know if it grip, yeah.
Yeah, it's plastic, you'll start slipping and sliding on that real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, at least if you fall, it's not gonna probably hurt as bad.
Depends on some traction, but maybe not enough traction.
Alrighty. Okay, let's move on then to subcommittee reports, aids to navigation. Review of all aids to navigation, remaining signs, buoys to be placed. I think we've got all the signage has been installed. Do we have any, I know that we had one light, up there by Pete Soroka's house that was, consistently on. Did we get a chance to look at that buoy?
No, not yet. I know, you mentioned also it wasn't bright, so we're gonna look at different options. We swapped them out for solar. I think the battery would probably be best. Every few months, you have to go out, get on the boat and swap the batteries.
Did y'all put the one in where the whole pylon is lit up?
Where at?
It's back, it's a little off, so it's somewhere back on the creek, I think, I see it when I walk around David Braun, so it's somewhere in that area, not quite the spillway, but just down, but there's a new buoy there where the whole pylon is lit up, it's super bright, compared to like these out here, pretty impressive.
Is it
Wasn't ours.
floating or is it?
Floating, yeah, floating, no way. That's not like the other, that's the reason I asked, it's not like the ones that we put out in, Nassau Bay, it's different, but the light's on the inside, and so the whole, you know,
Okay.
the whole, buoy basically besides the base.
That's not ours.
So I don't know where that came from.
might be.
Yeah.
No, it's, I mean, no, maybe, but it's new, like, it's not an old one that's floated out.
And it's right at where the no wake zone is supposed to take effect as you go up towards.
Correct, yeah, 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 yeah. But
But
it gets a lot more
Okay.
in the future. If we need to replace, may consider those instead of the ones we just light on top, because it's a lot brighter.
the big city setting there is too.
No. People throw them out there themselves. I mean, I talked to the Coast Guard about this. A lot of times people just throw them out there themselves and don't ask for permission.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of.
I mean,
what
I
happens.
think it's where there were buoys there, so it's not a new location, but it's a new group for sure.
Where at again?
Back there, past the den, so between, almost where the city, works complex is out there.
Oh,
by the
Public
park.
Works?
Yeah, Public Works.
Okay. Oh, there is one there. It is nice, yes.
The no wake zone kicks in right at the, it's supposed to kick in from the spillway and then going north, towards Nassau Road one, as you start going past the residential. That's been an existing one, that no wake's been existing for 20 some odd years at least.
Okay, how do I find that information out? I mean, how do I search for that? Is that a section or something in the?
Yeah, it's in the city ordinances.
Okay.
That one's there. I can get you,
Okay.
I can get you the exact,
Okay.
let me get you the exact site.
We're talking with the Coast Guard about that stuff. That's a lot of times what people do. They'll buy their own buoys and put them out there. And they don't talk to the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard doesn't have, regulations on it. It's too hard to follow. So, but it was a nice buoy.
Yeah.
Okay, all righty, on to old business. Item 1, consideration possible action, approve the meeting minutes of November 2025. Do you have any changes, anything you'd like to make, any corrections?
Let's see, where's 2025?
From the November 19th meeting there. Any corrections or anything need to be made?
Question for you, send out to the survey regarding. What was the, item number 3, member update and discussion? We briefly on that?
Let's see.
Public Works to put a non-skid down, okay?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the non-skid.
Okay. So that also includes what we were talking about before about the small boat launch.
Yes.
Okay.
That includes all that right there.
And on the docks, so here's one of the interesting things I saw yesterday. So there's signage on the, about no parking, or that Uber pickup on the Upper Bay sign.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not anything done by the Nassau Bay Park. So, maybe it's wrong park. So I talked to Roscoe Lee, so a number of years ago when Roscoe was in charge of the city, he put that ramp in, back in those days, like before you were at your fault. And they also put a sign up that no wake zone in the park. But throughout the years, that's just gone. I mean, who knows, we have hurricanes, storms. So that had been there before, long before, which makes people aware of that there is kayak traffic coming through there. If you're coming around those corners and people don't not listen. So one of the rules that Blind Ben said, particularly around Ron Park, is you're supposed to sound a horn when you come around that corner and slow down to a reasonable speed. You're supposed to sound a horn, or it's the same signal device. Nobody ever does that. I've seen some go fast.
Let's keep to the item, the agenda item, which is minutes themselves. If we have any changes to the minutes?
That's it for me.
Okay, well, then I need a motion in a second.
I motion to accept the minutes.
Okay. Second by Herb. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Discussion, so old business, item 2, discussion survey, review the results of the survey that was sent out regarding the usage and safety of public waterways in adjoining areas. Irv, you are on deck.
your time to shine, my man.
I thought this was gonna be more of a community.
Well, it should be. It
Yeah.
is.
Well, so, you know, everyone got the, results, the descriptive, quantitative, you know, the bar graphs and the percentages, which I'm sure when you read them that they're revealing to a certain degree. So then, kinda, made a one-page handout. I got a 4-page with some details, so we could go, like, if certain
I
things.
think she only printed out one of those for us for some
Okay,
reason.
that's fine, that's fine.
Sorry, I'll let you-
But this one pager, captures, some of the higher level issues from the comments. It, has, certain themes, that we can, go over, from just the demographics, you know, talks about how many are power boaters and how many people had a certain amount of, on the water education and things of that nature. But what I would like to do is just at this moment is just give about, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes or so to kind of go through that one pager. And then, to see if we can generate some conversation from it. From that, I'll go back to my 4-pager and provide a little bit more, of a narrative, detail on some of those, high points that we talk about. And then, if we must, we can dig into the actual numbers themselves. One thing I did, find is, before you read, most of these comments, right, that have, come up from residents, the citizens.
The survey.
Right, they do show up in the survey. And I think the most important thing, before we get into it, I believe the most important thing is for us to, capitalize and create some type of next step, right, based on the information that we do have. The purpose for this was so that we can get information from the boating community. The purpose of it was so that we can also, find out what it is that we need to, disseminate as far as from an education and safety perspective, what we need to get back out. So it was like hey, tell us, what you see and what you need, and then from that, then we create the next steps moving forward. So I'll give you about 6 or 7 minutes on that first page. We'll go into more detail.
First page.
This one is a 4-page, this is just a 1-page.
Maria had only sent out
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, we only got a 1-page.
She made only one copy of the 4-page.
Of this, have you talked about this?
No, there was a 4-page, like, more detailed summary. They had
Yeah.
only, for some reason, I guess she only made the one copy of
That
that.
one?
It is.
You need more copies?
Yeah, we can see more copies.
Yeah.
I didn't see it one thing.
Yeah, I didn't see one.
That's the one that says, Safety Committee, Community Survey, Executive Handout.
Yeah, it's in that packet.
I got a bunch of them. Back over this one.
Thanks, everyone.
Got some more over here. Tom, you got it?
Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
So one of the big things that kind of surprised me with the survey and as a whole was, you know, we were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, is that we put this out into the world and we were anticipating a lot of people who are non-residents to respond. Once it got out into the internet and the city posted it up on the Facebook page and whatnot, and really didn't get that many. We got 3, so I mean.
Was it the city Facebook page? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we put it actually on the Facebook page, handouts, website, we had it on the big screen, Compass Rose.
So that's gonna be mostly city focused, right?
Well, the Facebook, the social media platforms, that's, you know, everyone else, and then the handouts, yeah, that's, I think about 5 different areas we've got to push out.
Yeah.
Do we post anything at any of the marinas? I didn't see anything.
The physically at the marinas, no, I don't believe anything's posted.
So I think we're missing the mark there. We're expecting everybody to look at social media for broadcasting and stuff.
That and the water bill.
I'd be careful, because I noticed some of the comments were about the lake in general, about doing things in the lake in general.
Yeah, which is outside of our scope.
Yeah,
That's right.
so,
For example,
I'd have to go back and look. If
There was one about the
you know,
abandoned boat in the lake, not, there was some on the canal, but there was one about the abandoned boat, which is
Yeah.
in the broader lake.
Yeah, just general lake,
Yeah.
general
Sure.
abandoned boats and things, so.
Sure.
You know, going to the marinas, I think the committee needs to be careful about, putting something out there that we're taking care of the entire lake. You know, and that's our main responsible for the entire lake, which we're not.
now, by the way, that one boat's still holding tight over there, Lake City side. Went by it the other day,
Oh, yeah.
they're still good.
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday.
Pretty, okay.
Yeah, to Chief's point, there was, some, I'll say some considerable data that was free text or, narrative, and with a couple of questions that deal with, education. I think our call to action is gonna be education to include, who we are and who we're not. There are some numbers here that indicate that, somewhere between none and a little bit, people know, like, who we are and what we do.
So you mean educational committee specifically, right?
Yeah.
Educational, exactly.
Can I throw out?
Absolutely.
So, just roughly, and it's kind of difficult on the recommendations because they're free text, like you said. So try to put, there were about 6 where people were, that they didn't have any recommendations. We actually had 3 where they were a great job, they really did a great job. There were about 10 of them that voiced more education in the community, with the marinas and things like that. And again, that's one of those where I think they're expecting us to go out to the entire local community in the Clear Lake area. But there was about 10 to that. There were about 10 responses about police patrols, and a couple of those, I noticed that, well, we should be doing police patrols on the weekends during the summertime. We ought to do that. I know there was one that, police should be patrolling just like they do on the streets. And then there was about 9 of them that there was too many restrictions being added, too many signs. So it's kind of, it's almost even about number 10,
Right.
that want more enforcement, less enforcement, or less
Exactly.
restrictions.
Right.
There was a lot of heated recommendations about not being able to ski and tube and the code anymore, and then, so it's a balance,
It is.
balancing act.
And I think what should be celebrated is, one, that we did get this thing out and, I think 88 responses is pretty good, honestly. And the next steps, understanding, the feel and understanding and the spirit and intent of the community so that we can respond appropriately. We're not gonna be able to say yes and everything is perfect all the time, but that's where education comes in. Whether we can, whether we can't, what this is, what this ain't. So, I think that the big thing is gonna be about education. We've done education in science, right? By way of science, we've done, education as well. We're about to do it right now as far as like our next survey. From these findings, what is it that we need to address next? But I'm gonna hush now. I don't know if y'all read that first page or not. While you're going through it, it is. While you're going through it, the major themes, just to piggyback on Chief, from the text, speeding and weight violations, especially around the bends, parks, marinas, and no-wake zones, alcohol and reckless operation frequently linked with noise, confrontation, unsafe behavior, noise and quality of life concerns. These are just the overall themes from the text again. Mixed perceptions. Some report improvements, others remain concerned. Abandonment and submerged hazards. The next theme is divided views on regulations. Some residents call for more enforcement and signage, while others advocate fewer restrictions and personal responsibility. And the last theme is desire for education over rulemaking, which is what I agree with wholeheartedly. Many respondents prefer education, training, and clear communication rather than new rules. So those are the things from the narrative.
So did we put any new rules in? We didn't do that.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing I think is important. It's like, what does this do? It reveals, right? It informs us. So, I think we didn't put in any new rules.
No, of course not.
So
We
there have
put in
been
some more
two-
signs.
Well, so the council in the last 2 years, since this committee was first even thought of, almost 2 years ago, council put in, council made, the code, the no-wake zone. They actually formally made that a no-wake zone. That was finally established right around Memorial Day of 2024.
No, this year.
No, the
The signage was this year, I think.
signage was, I believe, I know we had the first thing.
It was changed from the no excessive weight.
Oh, that's right, to
That
no
was
weight.
This year.
Okay,
And that was
fine.
early in the summer this year. This was the first season to have no weight,
Okay.
actual no weight as opposed to the no excessive weight.
I know that was one of the big discussions they were first having, was almost 2 summers ago, was the verbiage on that, so it might have taken a while. Okay. And then, of course, the other one was just, strengthening some of the rules on, the abandoned vessels, which they just had that in the last, council meeting in December, they're voting on that, they have the second reading. So that's gonna take a little while to codify and get out there. And all it did was just add a little strength. So there really hasn't been a whole lot of rules. Yeah, that's what I said, December was the second reading, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's got to get codified, it's got to, do all the i's crossed and t's dotted and stuff.
Yeah. So, just real quick, I'll go through, a little bit more detailed version of that, what the community is asking for, but I think you all have the full, 3 or 4 pages that fall under recommendations for the committee. Now, just in transparency, this ain't me, right? This is throwing the data in, doing an analysis of it, and like you were talking about, AI is wonderful. It pooped it all out, right? So after that, I took a look at it just for consistency, and everything, you could look at some of the comments specifically, and it's not gonna be word for word, but what it does is captures the intent, right? So, I'll just power through these, and then maybe we can have some discussion. Recommendations for the committee, right? I look at this as the next step. Increase, committee visibility and clarity. Develop a concise, consistent explanation of the committee's purpose, authority, priorities, and integrate this into all surveys, communication, and public-facing materials. Recommendation 2, prioritize education and outreach. Offer regular boating safety education through, I don't think we're gonna do this, through workshops, but we do have opportunities through events.
Yes.
Different events, right? Online resources, marina postings, to your point, and community events. Again, this is where we're finding, gaps between what the survey is stipulating and, what, I guess you can say, for lack of a better word, what we're not doing. Because what we're not doing is being clear, is one thing, right? We're new, makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? What we're not doing is a whole lot of enforcement. That makes sense. That's not what we do, that's not what we're here for. So being able to educate and provide clarity on who we are and what we do, hopefully over time, that's gonna, create some, higher level understanding and some normalcy with our committee as it relates to our residents. Prioritize, did I already say that? Strengthen community, okay, I already said that. Coordinate with law enforcement, work closely with, police and other authorities to maintain a visible, consistent on the water presence during peak boating periods. That's something I know that we do. Adopt a data-informed enforcement approach. focus on enforcement and messaging on identified high-risk areas. The blind men, we already talked about this, parks, marinas, and channels. Rather than a broad area-wide restrictions, to Chief's point, some people might be thinking about the lake, but we're talking about what it is that we actually have jurisdiction, I guess is the right word, over.
We're not part of the lake, right?
The last two, engage the community in feedback loops. Create opportunities for resident input before implementing significant changes, which we do, such as public forums, advisory subgroups, or pilot periods with evaluation, trying something new. You know, that's gotta come out of the information that we receive. And actually after, if we implement, right, then we monitor and assess and figure out if it's something that we should keep doing now, right? Clarify the safety versus, this is a big one, recreation boundary. Clearly articulate how safety objectives differ from recreational planning to reinforce trust and avoid perceptions of mission drift. We're drift. You drift, like, we're not the law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. Even though some things are such. So, outside of that, you know, I don't wanna insult anybody's intelligence reading things word by word, but, I guess, we could just have some general discussion about it and next steps.
So, just real quick, just so we, you know, in terms of our agenda and everything. So, this portion is just discussing the survey, things that could come out of it. Under new business, we're gonna discuss actionable items from the survey to make recommendations based on the results. So, any votes that we wanna to hold to say, okay, we would like to focus and do X, Y, and Z, that portion will come under the new business.
Okay.
Based on our discussion under old business.
So one thing, you know, I think we have to consider, I think that all the points are great points. I think on the education front, as you said, that's key on both the purpose of the committee as well as just education around voter activities instead of necessarily restriction on rules. But, you know, I think one thing we have to consider is we can see that this was largely, the cohort here was largely Nassau Bay residents, right? Now, what we don't know is, so if we're talking about these waterways, the Nassau Bay, the creek, right? What percentage of the activity level in those areas is from Nassau Bay residents, right? Because I mean, if we focus on education, for instance, both on what the committee does as well as rules and so forth, and that is around the community, is that really going to have a large impact if the overall activity level is more people outside of the community than in, right? So I think that's what we have to make sure that we consider and how we go about taking the action. Because I don't know, I mean, I speculate that there's more activity from non-residents than there is from residents.
Yeah.
But that's not a data point that we really, I think, have any way of knowing.
Yeah.
Here's my input on that. So, Nassau Bay, I mean, Lake City just put in this new kayak launch, black with floating kayak launch. And then they're gonna rebuild that next event, they're gonna rebuild that dock, that boat ramp. And a lot of people use that boat ramp to launch and come to Nassau Bay and go into Clear Lake and out to Galveston Bay. A lot of people do. I know they're watching these boats come around here, go flying around the creek. Those boats are not from Nassau, from our marina. They go to that launch and launch from that launch and go out somewhere else. And as it grows and they spend another $1 million on that ramp, we're gonna get more traffic.
Which is the importance of the educational signage.
Which, you know, in one regard, you know, you have some people saying, you know, we don't want any more signs, but how do you inform people who don't subscribe to everything that we do here? You know, they don't live here, they don't necessarily talk to the neighbors here. How do you get that information to them as they're coming in? It's signage, you know.
Signage, and then, but I think that there's also, then we get back to the element of enforcement as well, right? Because if they don't live here, you know, how much, and it's nighttime and it's dark and there's a sign there, you gotta really pay attention.
You can't do that.
When we first
There are
started,
challenges.
somebody made a recommendation, welcome to Nassau Bay, and just be cautious of the blind bends in Nassau Bay. That's pretty simple. We don't have, we're not making up new rules. The Coast Guard already put the rules in place.
Yeah, no, and that goes to the informing and educating, and then, yes, if chiefs people are out there and they see someone blow around a blind bend and, you know, throw a huge wake at a kayaker, then his team can, can enforce at that point. But again, you gotta, they has to happen in front of them. Yeah, that's not much they can do.
So quick question, just a quick one here. You might have already mentioned it, but as far as, there's a lot of, input and chatter about the blind bend, the speed in the blind bend. We don't want no wake zones, it's dangerous, blah, 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 not to be that, but on and on. So have we had much conversation about, to your point, a blind bend sign? The actual sign, because I know rules of the road, hey, yeah, you're supposed to have one long horn, blast and things of that nature, but people don't know that.
So signage, anything within, was it 40 feet of the mean water low line? Or where's the GLO's jurisdiction? It's almost, it's like,
Anything in the water.
yeah, in the water, and then it's up to like,
Approved by GLO, the placement,
Yeah.
In the water.
language.
Has to be
or
approved.
Has to be approved by the US Coast Guard. Anything on the land that's not in the water, there can be signage, but
Yeah.
the blind bend that you're talking about, that's gonna have to be placed over on Lee City side, on the nature preserve for it to be effective.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it being effective on our side.
So,
And the other piece is,
So
again, to get people to act, it's one thing to make people aware of blind bends, right? But I don't know how many voters in the community are actually going to recognize, okay, it's a blind bend, I need to take this action.
Yeah, I'm not a voter, so, how many voters are out there that actually have gone through the motor safety flash, you get a license, you gotta go to the driver's ed.
but that's when you're a certain age, but
Yeah.
not my age.
No.
Yeah,
According to
but,
this 60%.
there's no requirement for the same thing for a vote, in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
but that does bring us to a couple things where we mentioned education, workshops, things of that nature. There are multiple avenues to pursue. So obviously, anybody under the age of, I want to say it's under the age of 16 in the state of Texas operating a boat has to have a boat safety course.
And they have to carry,
And they have to carry the certificate like it would be a driver's license, so it have to be on their person. And then I think anybody born after 1981 or something like that also has to take in a boat safety course.
Has anybody taken that course recently? My kids have.
I have,
I'd be interested to know if there's anything about blind bend in that.
well, when they cover Navarese.
Yeah, they will.
So it's gonna, but it's gonna be just, they're gonna talk about it and they're gonna move on. It's just one of those things. So someone had mentioned possibly seeing if we could coordinate a basic safety quota course, the 8-hour deal. There are organizations, Coast Guard Auxiliary Power Squadron, they do these because they're able to do it and certify for the state of Texas, as well as they've got the materials and whatnot. It's something that we might be able to look into, linking up with the Seabrook Flotilla, which is the nearest Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla to us, talking to them, seeing, okay, what would your cost for materials? Can we break it down, either do, because it's an 8-hour course. I did it in an 8-hour shot. It's rough. So, and again, if you're targeting new boaters, younger folks, maybe break it up into 2 Saturdays or something like that. Might be something to look into down the line, coordination.
So, when I started this paddling event, people reached out to me and saying, I want more education around here, I want to be safer around here. So I have a personal relationship with the people in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. In fact, they came up and did training in Camp Hope with me. The Coast Guard Auxiliary chaplain did. So I have a good relationship with them. I've already talked to them. In fact, I started talking about doing boat safety long before I joined this committee. So it just takes a while to get it done, but I think that the flotilla can work exactly. So my idea was bringing the go tell it over here to Nassau Bay where the boats are, instead of going to Seabrook. We could do it right over here at the Nassau Bay Yacht Club.
Well, but again, how much, so are you gonna, is this open up to, how do you gain access to all the boats that go through this traffic area, right, versus just a very select few of boats?
Well, I think we're talking about boating safety class versus.
Yeah, so I
something
mean,
else.
I think there's gonna be multiple angles ultimately. I mean, some of it's gonna be ground up, you know, grabbing the first-time boater in a classroom.
Sure.
You're gonna have that angle. Yes, you've got the people who've been out here for 15, 20, 45 years boating. You gotta be able to get a hold of them too, but, you know, you're gonna have multiple angles of attack.
So, my point of it for me is, personally for me, is I didn't know about this. I mean, I knew about no wake zones, but I really didn't study it until I started getting into the boating, this kayak world, boating world. So the question to me is, do we have a mission statement for what we do?
I don't think we actually
We should have a mission statement. Because that would
Talking
clarify
about
a
the
lot of
committee.
things. Yeah, that would clarify a lot of things.
Yeah, I just wrote, you know, as far as the education part, is like,
Yeah.
to your point, like, making sure we can clarify who we are, right?
Right, and where we're
As,
going.
as opposed to what the expectations are, you know, from others. So, yeah, I mean, a mission statement, or at a minimum, being able to clarify in our next communication, at least, if it's not, what do you want to call it, for lack of a better word, legal, mission statement, at least it's our, purpose. Say what our purpose
Yeah.
is.
That would help.
And clarify, to delineate, who we are, and what we're not.
I'd have to run that up the chain to see if council would have to approve the mission statement, or if we were able to internally as a committee approve the mission statement, approve the mission statement.
I don't think it has to be council approved.
No.
We could look into it, but I don't think.
I just wanna make, like I said, I just wanna make sure we cross our I's and dot our T's on this.
So number 10 here is kind of interesting. Everybody that has seen, everything that I've seen is unsafe against existing laws.
I think they're talking about being out there on the water, you know, they're just seeing people acting just completely recklessly, acting fool out there on the water versus, you know, people who just adhere to every rule. And still go back to that.
I think one of the important things to do in our committee was to let people know, we're not making up new rules.
No.
We're not, that's not part of our job.
Right. Not at all. You make recommendations.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's like, if this was, the community was a huge meeting, right, it would be a, point of clarity, right?
Yeah.
We would be basically saying, point of clarity, this is what we do and who we are, you know, and, you know, one thing about human nature is that in the absence of knowledge, we make up the worst case scenario. That's just what we do as humans. So, I can understand when you hear about this new safety committee that you automatically associate it with rules and regulations and stuff, and forget that it's actually for your well-being.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyway, I won't beat that dead horse.
But one of the other things we can do, again, going back to education, as we said, you know, yes, obviously, we could grab, you know, see about possibly partnering with a group to come in and do a boater education course. But we could also put together a Nassau-based specific boating workshop. Hey, these are our trouble areas, these are our area, you know, these are the areas you need to kind of pay attention to when you're out there on the water. These are the rules that are in place. And just, you know, it also gives us a chance to also get some feedback, you know, directly, face to face, for those who might be interested.
I think narrowing it down to Nassau only is not good.
No, I'm just saying, but in terms of, the workshop, not limited to Nassau Bay residents per se, but, because you want, you know, you want word to get out, you want people to get the information. But this is our area, this is our bread and butter, this is our, you know, we're concerned about what goes on in the code, we're concerned about what goes on in Cow Bayou and Clear Creek. I'm not as concerned, because we don't have any control over it, what happens in Lake City. Not as concerned with what's going on
Taylor Lake Village, Seabrook, Nakima Channel. Those aren't things that, I mean, yes, it's good to have some information on them, but that's not where our focus needs to be. Because you can very easily focus on everything else and you lose the primary focus, which is boating in Nassau. And there's plenty in just our little slice of the area. Plenty to focus on.
At one time, we had also talked about cameras, surveillance. I think y'all were still looking at that at the time.
Yeah, we actually have, we'll have a camera on Seacove, and then I think that the, overlooking the cove, and then we'll have one on, finger piers overlooking as soon as.
So that is happening. What
Yeah,
is-
actually, they will be installing tomorrow.
Start tomorrow.
I'll start
Oh,
tomorrow,
okay.
so hopefully by, beginning next week, we'll be up and running.
And that's something that, as a committee, we can look at for data purposes, just like traffic, to look at, what the quantity of traffic is through there.
Well, we just have to be very careful because, I mean, like, I personally won't have access to it. It's just, it's more of a, police department, for any crimes.
Yeah.
Then they can go in and look. As far as monitoring, I think we have to be very, very careful, with boating, minors, all that. We just have to be very,
You know,
very
well, I
careful.
think for us,
For that kind of data point, somebody would have to sit there and watch the count.
Yeah, I understand. But it would be a reporting, right? It does, like you have a record of the,
Yeah,
of the report.
yeah, the data's safe for a certain period of time. The other issue is that, to make clear that, we're not gonna be able to use these, like, I think there's a misnomer out there that, be able to say, okay, this boat's doing this, and, we're gonna write citations to them. We have to personally identify somebody operating a vessel or a vehicle even on the street. That's why Texas has done away with red light camera.
Yeah.
You can't just write a citation to
A car.
or a vessel or the owner of the car or the vessel. You have to identify the operator.
I thought, two things. One, that wasn't where I was going, but I was more thinking in terms of being able to use it to access data. But I thought that we did have a conversation about the vessels, that it was, in Coast Guard rules, there was, capability to the owner of the vessel.
So,
no matter what.
Yeah.
rule one, nothing in these rules shall exonerate the master, the owner, the operator, or the crew thereof. It's boom, right there. Everyone is accountable for adherence to the rules.
Right.
So, yeah.
But
again, we also have to blend in the fact that their ability.
Owner of the boat, I can't write a citation for no wake zone to Jason and put it in this court over here. He's gonna be found guilty. It's gotta be.
Yes, so I mean, the overall broad power coming from the NAV rules and the CFRs, yes, it does say, okay, boom, it's all encompassing. But when you get to the local law enforcement and stuff, they are only able to, because Texas law, state statutes say they can only do X, Y, and Z. They have to have proof beyond a doubt of this individual.
So,
They gotta
so
settle that.
taking the police department and fire department out of the equation, at least we could see patterns of people.
Yeah.
For example, sitting at the dog park, I can see people doing circles all the time with their, little kayak, we're coming behind them, and then there's a blind bend there. At least we see a pattern of what's going on. You don't have to necessarily identify Joe Blow as being the operator, but we see a pattern of what's going on.
Yeah, I think that there would be value in that if that's not prohibited by issues with human bodies or something.
Yeah, now the system will, I guess, detect motion. But I don't know if it will count, say
Yeah.
50 boats a day or something.
Yeah, well,
We'd have to look.
You'd have to say, okay, at 1,600 on every Saturday, take a snapshot, and then say, okay, then we can, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, count, and take a census that way. We probably have to do manual, have to do it kind of manually, but we also have to have a dedicated time.
Yeah, personnel.
Well, I mean, at that point, I mean, if they just produce the image, we can do it. You know, it wouldn't have to necessarily be would it have to be an officer sitting there saying, okay, 1 vote, 2 vote, 3 vote, blue vote, red vote? Or would that be just, okay, hey, guys, here's your snapshot of Saturday at 1600, and we look at it and say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So the cameras are going to be right about, 14 foot out.
I don't think it's static.
Yeah, it's not gonna be like a drone.
Yeah.
A drone.
Yeah, you have depth perception, boats to.
Yeah, you
behind
can
somebody.
probably take a snapshot of the cove.
Yeah.
If you're looking for traffic numbers, you need to take some sample period. and then, So I guess again, we're just seeing what limitations, if those videos can be shared, or if that's totally off limits.
We'd have to talk to the counselor, legal,
Cameras weren't put in for that.
Yeah, no, we're just looking,
No, I know.
he's just looking at it as a, hey, this could be an added benefit of this being already in.
you have shared out, my gut feeling, and I'm not an attorney or anything, I think it puts the city in liability, to just start sharing out, images from, spy cameras from,
Yeah, I've heard you talk-
that's not my wording, but from those who would be opposed to,
Yeah.
I
spying
think
on us.
maybe post-incident is where what happens for that.
It's what we use right now, we have
Yeah.
the LPR cameras through the flock system. They are set up if a vehicle is flagged for a stolen vehicle, or whatever, and it comes through and it's flagged, and it is, we will get a notification. Other than that, it's after the fact, we go back and we need to find a vehicle that matches this description, that was in the city because something was stolen or something, and we can get an LP. So that's probably 98 or 99% of what we're using the flock system for
Makes sense.
is post
So if-
investigations. So
If a citizen reported, let's say that there was, at night, there was a boat doing some activity, then you would have the ability to go back and validate and see what that actually was. Not that you could issue citations, as you say, but it would at least give an indication of what was happening.
Give you a baseline for the investigation.
yeah, it's just the boats out there, are willing to put the manpower on that,
Yeah.
So we have to be careful about that.
So, complicated issues here.
How they what?
Are they gonna be marked, or is there gonna be a sign?
Yeah, they're gonna have a sign.
Okay, so at least it's a deterrent.
Yes. Yeah, and we're hoping for that to, as people start seeing them, they will start, being involved.
I was putting by that sign the other day that's on the peninsula, and coming on the north side of the peninsula, I still couldn't read it. I was going like 5 knots. I still cannot read it. It's so far out and so far away. That little sign out there talks about the rules and regulations in Nassau Bay. Still hard to read. It's sitting
That's a
on-
4x8, is that?
Yeah, but it's sitting on, I mean, I wasn't hardly moving yesterday.
Yeah, it's, one of them things that.
That's our new sign, right?
Yeah, that's like you said, 4x8,
Yeah,
that's,
that's a perfect
you know.
example of, we can put that sign,
Yeah.
it's on our land.
Right.
It's not in the water, it's
Right.
not, so.
Although that sign is in the water, it's on 2 hard poles.
Yeah, the one, you're talking about the one on the, yeah. Because that sign was already there and we just replaced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's on 2 poles, right.
Yeah,
But
it's a 4x8, yeah.
It's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
We just enlarged it, but still. Maybe I need better glasses, I don't know.
Do those videos, do they have sound too, or just footage?
So let's see,
If you were.
back to the survey discussion.
Could go on more, you got more.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think these are all great ideas. I think that obviously the establishment and, education around what the committee is here to do is super important. I think we can see that. I think finding ways to improve education around how to vote safely in the community is also important. I think we may have to eventually figure out ways to try to do that on the waterway. Because I just don't know how you capture, and communicate with everybody that's using the area that aren't necessarily residents of the area. So I think, and the only way I can see to do that is to capture them in the environment where they're using it. I don't know, I know y'all used to hand out pamphlets at one time, right?
Yeah, we did, Uzi and the guys.
Was it fish food?
There was a decent, huh?
One's a fish food. They wind up fish food.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, eventually, you know, I mean, everybody on the boats took them out of courtessy.
Yeah.
But the officer said that, you know, they could see later on, they, you know, thrown overboard, or they just thrown on the floor, you know. And we could, you know, so, yeah, that was about 3 years ago. I know, yeah, we have Tuesdays made up, but we try to give it out, and it's got some, you know, or there's some information on the back and stuff like, we've got videos that we put out.
The koozies at least stay in the boats?
Yeah.
All right, so at least we know at least one
Yeah.
form of media is gonna survive.
And I think we still have those two. Some of them, the orange ones. So, yeah, we've tried that in the past, hand out literature, hand out maybe something that,
You know,
they'll actually
So,
use.
one thing is we share this creek with League City and Friendswood. So having a boat ramp there, we could put information on there, working with League City, of course, and the rec department saying, there are blind bends around here, everybody should pay attention to the blind bends around the area. We can put that right there on the boat ramp.
Well,
That would have to be.
League City.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we share the same common waterways.
I mean, I can plant an ear and, you know, Chad
I-
Tressler or one of their ears say, hey, you know, this is what we're doing up here. You know, you guys might be interested in something along those lines. We've already got a minor framework. But they've got, right now, League City's got their own issues with their waterways.
Let's get a liveaboard boat.
Yeah, that's, so, I think that's something they don't even wanna, they're not gonna wanna touch. Oh, yeah, that whole thing.
You're gonna wanna push back on it?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna cost them a pretty penny by the time it's all said and done in lawyer fees. But that's their problem.
Well, we do share a waterway with them, very important, we work with them. When we had the paddling event, I reached out to the park department, asked them if we could help, they'd help coordinate with us. I didn't hear anything back, but there's.
I mean, that's part of the problem, we share the waterway, but there's not a, like, residential area or anything over there, it's just.
Not a what?
There's not a residential area or people, it's just that wildlife area. So I just don't know how much,
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't start sharing residential
Exactly.
until they're already at the peninsula and.
Yeah, but it's just a thought.
Yeah, it's worth you're right, that is a good point of entry where you get a lot of boats in. So
Yeah.
if there is signage there, that's helpful.
Sure.
If we could get them to support that.
Sure, well, I can tell you the ordinance that they just pushed out was developed and pushed out. It was, police department was not involved in that. It was the fire marshal's office, code enforcement, and their legal department. So, but, you know, it's more the code enforcement, fire marshal, yeah, it's all, it's 95% all dealing with liver boards and things happening in the marinas.
Yeah, in the marinas, right.
Yeah.
Now, it is something that we need to kind of be a little bit of aware and alert for, because there is the potential that this may result in more abandoned vessels being, you know, or even liveaboards being just pushed out into the open waterway. And that could, you know, wash up on our shoreline at some point. So it is something we need to kind of be cognizant of, but we've got rules in place that, you know, allow chief and his people to enforce when necessary.
If we can identify the owner.
If we can.
Well, that's it. Chain of custody, isn't that what you call it? Chain of custody?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big issue. You know, the officer's got to be spotlight on one of their boats down there at the bottom, basically causeway, and there's a barrel. Same issue. You know, the state of Texas and GLO has the authority to identify a boat as abandoned and label it as abandoned and be removed, but nobody's yet, the state doesn't have the money, we don't have money. We dealt with 2 of them last year, $60,000.
Harris County is now starting to come up with the Dead Boat Society. Harris County is now starting to come up with some money. I know No, I'm not expecting,
Yeah,
they are.
it's very expensive, it's very expensive.
It is.
All right, so I think we've got a good, at least a good framework to start working off. So if everyone's good with the discussion under old business, we can kind of move to see which of these we want to make, actionable, for us, and move on to new business, hold whatever votes we need to, and then.
I'll take on a task of working with Blind Ben and working with the Coast Guard Auxiliary Navy Education and working with you on the mission statement.
Let's handle the formalities first here.
Okay.
Item 7.1, consideration possible action. Discuss actionable items from survey and make recommendations based on survey results. So, again, any actionable items that come out of this is obviously just directing this committee to doing things, and how we want to proceed going forward.
I think we should develop, our internal information campaign, how we're going to get the word out about our community purpose and intent, and then we couple that with a follow-up. Actually, we also do a follow-up survey after we get the initial information about who we are and what we do, and addressing some of the survey results.
So, first thing you said, make a mission statement, right? Identify what it is we're doing, what it is we are, who we are and what we're doing. And second is getting that word out there.
Right, and I think that simplicity and brevity is best. Even a chart, right? Here's our mission, right, at the top of it, and you got two columns, maybe what we do, what we don't do, right?
Yeah.
Or, and then I believe at some point, may not be in conjunction with this, but we do have to be very specific about the results of the survey. It should be reported out.
Yes.
Right? So, and with the recommendations.
So there is a council meeting, this coming Monday. In order to get our thoughts and heads all screwed on properly, to get information to council more effectively, we can delay until February. The February meeting, we will come with the full proper report. I will forward along the executive summary that you put together when I give my report for this upcoming meeting. So they'll have that. They'll have enough to wet their palates, and then in February we'll take our time. I'm sure some people get a little bored as we're going over some survey results, but I think that one is February 9th or 10th or something like that. February 9th. Be the February meeting. So February 9th will, even though our regular meeting will be a few days after that, we can still, get our ducks in a row before that time.
Yeah, just like with surveys, the most important thing is that, some people hate to take surveys because they never see what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
They hate to be part of strategic plans because it just sits on the show. So the feedback loop is really, really important.
Yeah, so we need to make sure we have a mechanism for feedback, which again, more than likely is by the survey in the future. I was gonna say, try to do something, make changes in the survey in June. We do survey in about a year's time. You need a season for that all to work its way through. If all you do is put out surveys, you're gonna get tired of surveys. And I'm sure it's not, probably grand scheme of things, it's cheap, but at the same time, it costs money regardless to do these, I'm sure. Okay, so we got a mission statement, how we want to communicate out. Yeah, create.
Yeah, kind of like, again, I'm stuck on visuals because, you get kind of powerful, you can skip and jump and go back quickly. It's I can't, like, charge. Excuse me, so my recommendation is like, with, not the report out, but anything that goes like to the community, like it's an easy to, okay, this is what they do, what they gonna do, oh, this is what came out from the last survey, these bullet points, boom, 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 just something quick and simple. It's just my recommendation, otherwise, it never gets real. And then someone can look at it and say, well, hell, I didn't know that, and it's right there. But it's not simple, it's not really, concise.
Now, I know we have some existing videos, safety videos and whatnot. I think maybe working to refresh some of those, if any of them need to be updated, if we need to add any. In which case we can, and a lot of that we can produce as a committee. I mean, the video recording on a cell phone these days has gotten so great, you don't need professional equipment anymore. They're shooting whole movies on iPhone 17s now.
Yeah, and to the point, with the next, excuse me, with the next survey or whatever we can distribute out, like the QR code, that could be like a video. It could be a survey with a link, or it could be a link, QR code, and here's the I don't know, update training workshop stuff, right? And the QR code, boom, it's got 2 or 3 links, and it's like a self-talk type of thing. I'm just throwing stuff out. I'm not saying do it. I'm just, just throwing stuff out.
I think there's one thing just to capitalize on what I'm looking at here, the major thing we want to do is ensure safety, protect life, and prevent injuries and reducing property damage.
And
That's what
have,
we're about.
to support fun. No, seriously, I mean.
We want to encourage fun and usage of the water.
Well, people
Otherwise,
can have
you're
fun.
looking with something else.
Bottom line about safety is this, what you just said, not about having fun. People can have fun anyway.
Usually.
Words have a lot of power, right? So, if we said just that, which is fine, right? But if you come back with something that they want to hear, it submits, the safety part, right? Because it's for the purpose of their personal recreation, fun, or whatever the case may be.
Ensure safety.
Yes, definitely safety. I'm just a messaging guy, that's all, it's important.
All right, so let's see, we've got mission statement, communicating out survey results, creating a feedback loop from what we do, education, voter safety course, / local workshops. What else? Oh, yeah.
Follow up with signs and duties, maybe?
Follow up necessary signage, follow up signage. And like some of the folks in the survey said, we don't want to become so overburdened with signs that it's an eyesore, but at the same time, you've got to be able to get information out to people that don't come in, and they need to know what's going on. Alright, so we actually need to take a vote on any of that. We just kind of do the out tasks, right?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, Jim, if you want to talk to the auxiliary, just again,
Yeah.
full disclosure, I'm the now 20-year member of the auxiliary, but, just to keep me, out of harm's way on that.
Well,
general
you're
election.
also a tugboat captain, right, certified, so.
Yes.
You got some experience.
I'm certifiable, that's for sure.
And you know about blind bends, you know about all these rules, and you probably live them every day.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so I think we've got our marching orders. We can start working on, you and I can start working on a mission statement.
No, I want to be part of that.
Okay, you want to be in,
Yeah.
to keep it from any Open Meeting Act stuff, keep it to two or fewer. There's three, then you have issues. So, okay, so
Yeah.
Herb and Jim, I'll let you guys get on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's two. I was saying you two, and then I'll do the service part, but it's all good.
Whatever.
And how to communicate out the survey results, actually, Jason and I can take how to get the results communicated out.
Yeah.
Jeff, if you wanted to follow up, do the following of necessary signage, and whatnot, just seeing what types we might need based on, the survey input. Yeah, just take a look and just kind of parse out and see, okay, hey, we need more of X, Y, and Z, whatnot. And then, Jim will take the voter education stuff.
Sure. We're not trying to make it.
Okay? That's good. All righty. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 11th at 4 o'clock. It's a Wednesday, 5 weeks from now, because we had to push off skip 1 week because of the holiday. So, okay.
As I would too.
February 11th? Oh, yeah.
You gonna take this with me?
Can I say something fun?
Yes, of course, by all means.
So I get a lot of feedback from, residents, non-residents, a bunch of my friends are in probably, and I think education is gonna be important because it's honestly right down the middle. You've got kayakers that say, let's keep it safe, but then you've got the younger families and the fishermen that go, I am not gonna putt, and, all around here, I'm gonna drop in at 270 Bridge and I'm gonna take off. Or you get people coming from, say, Sam's Boat, all that, and they're trying.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a challenge, for this committee. Another thing I hear is that, we're promoting Margaritaville, we're promoting Virgin, fourth largest marine, but don't have fun. No, you can have fun, but but we gotta be safe. But
Right.
let's all be honest, when we're 25, 30 years old on a boat, probably safety is the last thing that we're gonna be thinking of. So, it's gonna be, but I think education is gonna be the key. Because I don't think, the majority of the Nassau Bay residents that are boaters are the ones that are doing this. I think it's outside, you go to the sandbar in Galveston and it's like a big concert out there. So I think it's a balancing act and I think it's gonna be difficult. We got people that love kayaks, then we got people that love, their fishing boats and their cigarette boats. So trying to make all that come together, it's gonna be difficult, but, it's not, I'm not hearing one way or the other, it's a different groups going, hey, let's have fun, let's be safe, but then you got the other ones going, we wanna have more fun than not.
And I think one of the great overriding rules for all of this is at the end of the day, you are responsible for your own wake. And I think that is the core right there. And it's how far do you expand? How do you expand out of that? You keep it just to that. And, that's the balance that we're gonna have to find.
And honestly, I don't see a time where we'll have a police dedicated boat with 4 officers, and I don't understand that. I don't-
Expectation
yeah.
management. is
Yeah,
part
it'd
of
be
the
nice,
education
but
too,
yeah, I don't think we'll ever see that. It's trying to work with what we have.
I don't think Chief wants to be out there, zinc on his nose, kick back.
That's all.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Any other last second comments, anyone else? If not, I need a motion to adjourn. Jeff?
Okay, let's
Second,
go.
all in
Thank you,
favor?
guys.
All right, meeting is adjourned at 17:31.
Thank you.
Everyone appreciate it. 1 year down.
Yeah.
Nancy, who's your counterpart? Is Fred still the counterpart down there in League City, or is he off the, is he done